He's the star Richard Bazzi, Schultz Ford, schultzford.com. I'm Bubba from 100.7 Star. And our star with us today, Joanna Lohman. Welcome to Cars, Stars, and everything in between.
Whoop, whoop. So happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me on the show and for making me a star today.
Now you're already a star, and I could tell in the first 60 seconds of meeting you that you were pretty dynamic as part of the prerequisite to success in any and everything you do. Now, Bubba accuses me of talking too much, and so I am going to try to let you talk more than me, which is really hard for me. But I'm honestly, when Chelsea first told me, and I said, "Oh yeah, the blonde streak in her hair," and yes, done, love it. Obviously, there's some really obvious, relevant conversation that we can have about last night's soccer game.
Yes,
and I do want to get your perspective on that. But more than that, you're amazing. I read your bio, and you're amazing. Can you tell us, like, how did this all happen for you?
First and foremost, you guys would love this. I call myself a celesbian, so a celebrity lesbian. So I appreciate you having me in studio, just making me more of a celebrity by coming on this show. I wish I could tell you this like magical wand story of becoming a professional athlete, but like most people who find success at the highest level, it's just a lot of really hard work, dedication, passion and love for what you do. And also luck, timing, opportunity. And when I say opportunity, I'm sitting on the foundation of Title IX, which was a monumental legislation for female athletes in 1972 that enabled us to play sports with equal opportunity, not necessarily equal access to the men. And so someone like my mom did not have the same opportunities that I did. And now my daughter will have exponentially more opportunities than me. So how cool that I am just a torch bearer, right? Someone who carries the torch for female athletes, who really took the torch from someone like Billie Jean King, Mia Hamm, Brandi Chastain, these true trailblazers, and now get to hand it to the athletes like Trinity Rodman, Alex Morgan, who came behind me, Megan Rapinoe, who really fought for equal pay that got passed in 2023. So,
right.
Gosh, just a DNA, right? A DNA, a lineage of barrier breakers, earth shakers, movement makers that I have luckily been a part of, and happy to share more details about my journey. But really, as one of some 290 women to ever wear the U.S. jersey dating back to 1985, I am a part of this exclusive sorority that has really used sport as a vehicle to change culture. Period. Let's go.
I love that. So you mentioned it. You talked about it, and so this lesbian conversation, was that an obstacle for you?
It was an obstacle for me, and I didn't know. Growing up, I'm 44 now, so I grew up in the early 80s, early 90s, if you will. Being gay wasn't even an option for my identity. I didn't have many role models. It wasn't a conversation we had in school. So I took the traditional path. I dated many men, went into college as a straight woman, ended up engaged to a man. Shocking, I know. In my senior year of college. And that is when I had my first experience with a woman, and I realized, okay, my life is going to be different than I originally expected. That's why representation is so important, right? That's why these conversations and language are so important, because it allows us to see what we can be. It also expands our idea of what identity is. So for me, I had a very narrow idea of identity. I wouldn't say that I was outwardly struggling. I had a wonderful childhood. College was quite easy for me. I did really well. I just wasn't my true authentic self that you see now, right? If you saw photos of me as a senior in high school or even in early college, you would be, what is she wearing? Tight dresses, long haired, rolled shorts. It was almost the, absolute opposite of what I am now. So stepping into my own authenticity and continuing my evolution in my gender expression, I think has truly allowed me to live a life where I am so alive, right? When I think I get compliments from people, they use a variety of words, but I think underneath it all, they're just amazed by how alive I am and how free I seem to be. And that is because I have gone through this evolution as a human. And also I am privileged to be in a space where I feel safe to be myself. I live in a country, I play a sport where I am celebrated for being a queer woman. And so, all of these circumstances allow me to really represent for the queer community. They allow me to show up in a space where I feel alive. And luckily that energy, I think people can feel.
I can tell you that, and I apologize, but I can tell you in the very first few minutes of this conversation, I feel it feels really good for me to be able to have this kind of conversation.
Thank you.
It really does. And because we don't have these conversations regularly. And I think seeing you and seeing your list of accomplishments, and then I wonder how you overcame all of it, because look, I grew up, before you did. And, it was really, you certainly couldn't have these conversations when I grew up. And so to be able to see you now be able to do that makes me feel good. Yeah. And I love that. Baba, does that give you the same feeling?
Well, so my daughter's gay, married, but she's a little different. We knew she was gay at a very young age.
Okay.
And she never had to come out to us. She never had to tell us. We always knew. It was never even a conversation in our house. And when I was able to speak at our wedding, I literally said this. I said, love is love. And if there's anybody that doesn't see this as true love, you're probably in the wrong mental space. The problem is yours, not theirs.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, it is. And so are you. And so let's talk about, you went to Penn State, right? Mm-hmm. Was that a full scholarship for you?
Yes. I went to Penn State, the Pennsylvania connection, knowing you all are in Pittsburgh. So many Pittsburgh natives in State College. I was a full scholarship athlete, 4-time academic All-American, Big Ten Player of the Year, captain of the women's soccer team, finalist for the Herman Trophy, which is essentially the Heisman for women's soccer. Had a 3.98 GPA, boys. Okay, so not just a pretty face or a dumb job.
Wow. That's pretty damn strong.
That's insane.
It's insane.
Yeah, that's pretty strong.
And here's where it gets interesting, though, Richard and Bubba, is that was my senior year. Obviously flourishing, also engaged to a man. I was supposed to go into the draft for the first ever women's professional soccer league, which was the WPS at that time. Yes, I think it was the WPS. And, this is the league with Mia Hamm, Brady Chastain, the best players in the entire world. I was supposed to go top 5 in the draft. I took off my second semester of my senior year to go into the draft. Like, my whole life was planned out. I was engaged to a man. I was going to have the white picket fence, the suburban house, right? The 2.3 kids. And literally overnight, the league folded. So the league went bankrupt in 3 years. It had a 5-year basically financial plan. It went bankrupt in 3 years. I found out walking across the quad, essentially at the exact same time my engagement was falling apart. So when you talk about my journey and having the courage to be myself now, it is because of moments like that where my entire identity was shattered. Like, here I was planning to be the next Mia Hamm. I was going to be, or Mia Hamm's teammate. And then all of a sudden I'm my parents' roommate with no fiance, no job that I could know of. And I had to completely reinvent myself.
And exploring something brand new that you found out about yourself that you didn't even know.
Exactly.
Joanna, hang on here. We will be right back. Joanna Lohman is our guest for Cars, Stars, and everything in between on 100.1 FM, AM 1020, KDKA.
Now, Joanna, will you please tell Baba that I'm not a bad interviewer?
You're an amazing interviewer.
There you
You're
go.
so fun.
No, you are. And I actually want to talk about that when we come back on the next segment. I want to explore that, because you didn't let it break you.
No.
And so the tools that you used for that and how they translate into the things like with the Minnesota Vikings, how did that help you prepare for that? And what tools do you actually use when you are a motivational speaker to a professional sports team? I mean,
yes,
crazy.
I love that. I love building those bridges.
Baba, did you hear that?
I did. I'm just saving this real
I
quick.
just want to make sure you heard it, Bubba.
Yeah, that you're a really bad interviewer. I heard her say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
We fight like brothers.
You're not my brother.
Right,
Perfect.
here we go. 100.1 FM, AM 1020, KDK. This is Cars, Stars, and everything in between. Let's get right back to Joanna Lohman. Real quick question. Did you find it difficult when you realized that soccer was officially over for you?
Mhm.
You knew you had played your last game to transition into the quote unquote real world?
So, yes and no. That came in 2019 when I actually retired. But I had many moments where I thought it was going to be my last game. I spoke about the first league folding. I traveled around the country and the globe, continuing to try to follow my dream of being a professional soccer player. I lived out of a bag, moving every 6 months for about a decade of my life. Played in the second league for basically the second league of women's professional soccer. And then that league folded. And then we had a third league. So it was such a roller coaster that you almost got comfortable being uncomfortable, right? You got used to the change and being able to figure things out, right? And that is a quality that all of us need to be successful in life, is understanding how to get through adversity, challenge, change, pressure, which is a natural state of existence. And so I got really good at staying low to the ground and pivoting. And in 2019, I was basically a star member of the Washington Spirit at that time. I'd been on the team for 4 years. We made it to a championship, second leading goal scorer. I had a significant injury in 2017 where I tore my ACL, came back from that, had 2018 season to kind of finish it out. And so when I tore my ACL, again, another huge identity collapse for me, because I was going into what should have been the best season of my life in 2017. In the 11th minute of the first game of what should have been the best season of my life, I tear my ACL. I never expected it to happen. So it was a absolute shock, right? It broke my heart. And I often say it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because it forced me to figure out who I was off the soccer field, right? Outside of those white lines, who was I without a ball at my feet, without jumping high, without sprinting fast? Who was Joe Lohman? And that work that I had to do to really expand my identity was what allowed me to retire, because I felt like a whole human being. And I felt like I had actually more to contribute off the field than I did on the field at that point. And so it felt like the natural transition was for me to step away. Luckily, that was my choice. And I felt very healthy, both mentally, physically, and spiritually, that when I stepped away, I knew it was the right choice. Listen, guys, I have a game tonight in a rec league, so I still play. I still love the game. Yes, to the depths of my existence. So that's not going to change. However, how I use the game now is very different than when I used it when I played professionally.
What the heck does it look like when somebody shows up on a rec league field and you're on the other side?
Yeah.
I try not to be a soccer bully. I'm like, Joe, just be nice, pass the ball.
But I'm thinking you're probably the soccer bully. And that's really great conversation, because you've had so many things to overcome, and
Yes.
and you didn't read a book. There wasn't steps 1, 2, 3, 4 on how to overcome it, but yet you have overcome it. You have overcome it, and gone on to be a motivational speaker for many professional McDonald's, many professional businesses and sports teams. How does somebody who's gone through everything you've gone through, and how do you become relatable to the Minnesota Vikings, a professional football team? What is it that you bring to them, and how do you teach them, and what do you teach them?
What's relatable universally is the struggle.
Yeah.
What is relatable is failure. I think people can aspire to be a World Cup player. They can aspire to win the medal and the trophy, but it's not necessarily relatable for a majority of people. So when I share these stories, guys, of my coming out journey, of my life falling apart on multiple occasions, that's when people truly relate to me, and they say, okay, she's so real and grounded and authentic because she's been through it. And you trust people who've been through it. And I think teaching that is such an important quality in business and life, because again, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when the shit hits the fan, right? It's going to happen at some point in your life. And fighting that reality is silly. It's accepting and the response to that adversity that really tells the true character of a human being, right? Do you surrender? Do you give up? Do you become a victim where you blame, shame, complain, or do you truly take ownership and become a victor through that experience? And just to use an example, when I tore my ACL, of course, like it's important to process whatever emotion comes with it. So I was truly heartbroken. I sobbed for multiple days, right? And that was okay because I was processing the emotion that came with that experience. And once you're able to process that, then you're able to really reframe what is your reality. It's the radical acceptance of reality. So my reality at that moment was I was going into surgery. I was going to have a 7-month recovery, and I could either fight against that. I could either say the shoulds, the coulds, the woulds, or I could embrace the present moment for exactly what it is, because there is beauty in that present moment. There is beauty in every incremental inch my knee now moves. There is beauty in taking my first steps and kicking the ball for the first time. And so I promised myself that I wasn't going to say things like, I can't wait until I can run. I can't wait till I can play again, because I wanted to sit in that pain, in that struggle, and truly embrace it for the beauty that it provides and the growth opportunity that it provides. And that is how I truly overcame it.
But did you have that progression of thoughts like that? Did you actually sit down and think through it like that, like a problem and a solution? Because I mean, what was your degree in?
Business with a minor in math. Thank you for asking.
It's almost, I almost expected you to say psychology.
Yes, I'm truly interested in the human brain, and I'm interested in the psychology of success. And to answer your question, no, I didn't sit down and I didn't say, oh, here's the problem, let's design the solution. I think, Richard, I had been through so much already that naturally it was almost like muscle memory. It was like, okay, here we are again. I was at the pinnacle of my life, and I got taken down by my knees. And it had happened multiple times previously in the history of my career and in my personal life that I was like, okay, here we go again. And, you know, I'm not unique to tear my ACL. It's almost like a rite of passage for female athletes. So I know there were so many women who had gone through it before me. And I knew there were so many people who were looking at me and towards me to see what my response would be. And so I think being that role model is important for me, right? I was one of the first out and proud professional athletes. I was truly a model for the queer community. So I knew that as an athlete, professional athlete who was queer, people are always looking at you and looking towards you. And so this was an opportunity for me to, again, show the world what humanity can look like going through this struggle. And you know, I've always been, I think, like a very open person. So like that emotion and showing that emotion wasn't difficult for me. Asking for help was something that was really important through that process. And then grinding through that rehab, I am someone who really views pain as a privilege, right? I think the struggle is sacred. And so I don't mind sitting in that discomfort. Like my whole life has been sitting in that discomfort. And I think the people who can do that really find the most joy out of life, because you really expand your emotional range. I can feel the depths of sadness, and then I can feel what it's like to be truly alive. And so these experiences are just expanding your range. I don't think I consciously thought all that at the moment, but as a speaker, you are really forced to look back on your life and extract lessons. And so I've been able to do that through some of these tough experiences.
We need to get people to follow you. How can people follow you?
Please.
Everybody needs to follow you. They need whatever social media you have, whatever website you have. Everybody listening right now has to follow you because you are absolutely amazing.
Yeah, you really are. I'm trying to, I think a little bit outside the box here. And as you're talking, and I'm thinking, you know, being able to sit in your discomfort and embracing it and liking it. And I'm thinking, I want to get away from my discomfort.
I know. Most people do.
I mean, it's a very different approach. And I think it's wonderful. Have you ever done anything or spoken to any groups in the addiction space?
It's a really good question. And oftentimes when I speak, there's something spiritual about it, right, Richard? Like I spoke actually to an investment bank recently during their Pride Month, and a woman came up to me afterwards and she said, I'm actually a preacher. My husband's a preacher. And I felt like I was at church today. So there's a higher purpose to all of this. And I totally understand the addiction connection, because there is that faith, right? That like deep purpose and faith. There's something higher connecting us all. And that is something that I try to tap into, because that is innately human, right? The whole idea that we're doing this together, we're part of the human body. And the more that we can lean on community and the collective, I think the higher purpose you can get through any pain, right? So I don't know if I've directly spoken to an addiction community, but there are a lot of like parallels to that I take a lot of compliments from when people say that to me.
Yeah, for sure.
How
go ahead,
can
Bella.
people follow you?
Yes. So I'm very active on LinkedIn. It's Joanna Lohman. You can see my name on screen, JoannaLohman. I am on Instagram, Joanna Lohman 15. I have a website, joannalohman.com. So yeah, in any of those manners, like please connect with me, reach out to me. I actually have something very exciting coming out this fall that I'll have to get back on the show once it's announced, and you guys
You can come back on it anytime you
yeah,
want.
we can chat. Which is I think is going to be life-changing for me. Should be announced like in the next couple of weeks, I hope. So I'm psyched about that. You'll get to really see me kind of national television, like working through some of this stuff. So it's going to be pretty rad.
So I would like to stay in touch with you after this. Chelsea, can you connect us, please? And Chelsea will connect us. But I really would like to. I will tell you, we have had, I don't know how many people on this show, but I can tell you very sincerely, you are my favorite person that we had on this show in every part of you. I love it. I respect you. I admire you.
Thank you.
And LFG. But
yeah, let's go.
But I do have one question.
Of course.
Well, we never did get to your dad.
I know. I was going to say, we have to thank my dad for this, and Chelsea for finding me. And
yes.
then I shot it over to my dad, and I was like, Dad, tell me. And he's like, you got to do it.
That was great. That was great. Thank you. What's his first name?
Steve Lohman.
Steve, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And I just, honestly, I'm just so overwhelmed. And then, of course, last night's loss. Any comments or thoughts about that?
I felt like we got punched in the face, right?
Yes,
like
we did.
In the first 60 seconds of the match.
Mm-hmm. And
when they scored that tying goal and they came back and scored right away, you kind of knew it, didn't you?
Yeah, we didn't feel fully prepared for that moment. And it seemed more mental than it was physical, because clearly we have the physical attributes. We are athletic, we are strong, we are fast. The generation that we have coming through is exceptional. Mentally, I don't think we were up to the task. I don't know if it was nerves, it was expectations of having the World Cup on your home soil. You're in the round of 16, but you saw balls bouncing in the goal box defensively. Like that is a non-negotiable, right? So there were just moments where you felt like they were questioning their own confidence and ability. And when you play a global powerhouse like them, they will punch you in the face when that happens. So yeah, I think it's going to be a great learning experience for us. I still think we're young. I think Pochettino is the right coach for us. So I think we are excited. We are hopeful. And this will hopefully be the start of some good stuff ahead.
I hope so too. But I have one final question.
Go for it.
You may not want to answer this one.
Okay.
The red card situation.
Yeah. Wow.
How do you feel about that?
That was so interesting. It was like, at what point has a world leader stepped in to speak out against a red card for his soccer team? And unprecedented, which isn't surprising for our current president, that something unprecedented happened. Sure. I don't agree with it. I think you should let the rules play out as they will. I don't think it was a red card to begin with. I think it was an accidental step on the ankle, and unfortunately he rolled it. So should it have been a red card? No. Should have trumped, kind of stepped in and intervened? No. Was I happy Balogun could have played? Yes. So, a lot of competing emotions there. I could understand why the other team was upset about that, and everyone just being like, this is a step too far. So
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Wouldn't agree with that. Yeah,
100%. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Baba won't take a position, but that's okay.
Joanna, I
Understandable.
just followed you on LinkedIn. I just followed
Thank
you
you.
on Instagram. Please follow Joanna Lohman, and thank you for joining us for Cars, Stars, and everything in between. You're amazing.
Thank you for not making me talk about cars. I really appreciate it.
Well, what kind of car do you drive?